Okay, thank you very much. Next, we will have course development by Dr. Todd Hubbard.
This is about it. There's one other slide as well. The same slide that I had when we delivered these speeches before. Everything that I would have put on a slide before this time and would have sent into April, to be a dutiful project PI, would have been overcome by events. All of the discussions that we had during networking, even into last night's reception, has changed everything. So we really can't react that quickly to put up new slides. So you'll just have to deal with listening to me, I guess. I have written down, and I was writing furiously this morning while everyone else is presenting. In fact, I think the photographer even snapped a picture of me typing. Anyway, we have as a co-PI Matt Vance. Matt Vance is not here. He's from Oklahoma State. He and I have worked together in past, and I know that the arrangement's going to be really good with us. And Terry Salmon, who was here yesterday, and we networked yesterday during the time before the reception. Terry and I worked together. We were even students together in our doctoral studies together. So we already have a relationship. In fact, I'm an independent contractor with Terry's business, so out at the academy. So we know each other. It's not one of those things that we have to spend a great deal of time figuring out what we do. But let me give you some of the goals that have changed a little bit. You can see here on the slide that there are some objectives, and some of those objectives are still in place, but they've been modified. And it's somewhat of a fundamental level. So I'm going to read this. So determine industry best practices in course development for complex subjects. That'll be the first thing. Sub-bullets to that would be survey industry partners within the Center of Excellence, and then summarize results. Pretty vanilla beginning, but you need to do that kind of analysis up front if anything else is going to be meaningful. But next, propose an assessment infrastructure for continued training development in the IBM Premier Learning Content Management System with sub-bullets. Analyze existing learning outcomes, propose a learning outcomes infrastructure, propose how to populate the LCMS with student learning outcomes and course goals, demonstrate how the management system can work, and then this is really important, and this is probably something I've not quite heard everyone else say, but maybe it's obvious. It just wasn't obvious to me. Sub-bullet to this is share results with all related project teams. Now, we've been talking about inside of our team, how that we share things within our team, but wonder if you came up with a great idea, but you don't share it with me until we're done. We will then have a very disjointed approach to this Center of Excellence because everyone will be developing in a stovepipe manner as opposed to sharing across PI to PI saying, hey, I came up with this, let me shoot it to you, and then if you come up with something, shoot it to me, and then we'll both be really happy because we're working together towards something. And if you look at the list, in fact, I would say at least 3/4 of the list is shareable to a very fundamental level. If you're going to touch course development, you're going to touch curriculum, you're going to touch ISD protocols, you're going to touch a lot of the other things that we see on the list. So there needs to be embedded in all of our goals this, okay, now it's time to share. And it's okay if you just broadcast it to other PIs, and they may like it, may not like it. It's not like I'm going to try to get in your business, but I do want you to know what I've found so we don't play this I've got a secret. Okay. Propose the continued development of shareable content objects that can be reused in other training. This is one of the problems that we have. SCORM, Shareable Content Object Reference Model, is something that the federal government has insisted that all contractors use so that we do not recreate training after training, which is the same training, and so then the federal government is buying it again and buying it again and buying it again. But we have not really held feet to the fire of a lot of the contractors, and so the FAA continues to buy things, duplicates, if you will. So if we come up with the protocols for these shareable content objects, then we can create the precursor, the job task, which will then be easily integrated into other job tasks later on. So it would be just a repository of things that you can reach out and get. So that's another thing that we're going to be working on. And share results with all related project teams. Lastly, propose course development strategies to accommodate next-gen training requirements. And sub-bullets to this is demonstrate how proposed course development strategies can work, demonstrate how the design research techniques approach can be used, and then share results with all related project teams. And there's another slide, I think the next slide to this, which is resistant to, okay. I don't know if you're very familiar with design research techniques, but it's a different ISD model, which is a much more fast-moving model than the ADDIE model for those individuals that are dyed-in-the-wool ISDers out there. And some research here, if you want to look at the research, it's really quite interesting to look at how this is used. And I'm not sure if it's still if it's hyperlinked, if the link still works, and if it does. So across the top, you can see what the model looks like, but under each one of these, so if you click on conceptualize for me, thanks April, then you can see all of the different things that are possibilities for constructing this course. I mean, it's crazy how huge this is because each one of these are hyperlinked, again, to explanations of how to do them. And this is the kind of tool that we really need for ISDs so that as they look to do something for next gen, that they're actually using all the best possible things to do, the ingredients for training, that they can see it all here. And so if you were to click on design for me too, will you, April? So you see, we have some things that are a little bit different. Now, some of these look very similar to perhaps something that you all did when you got your PhD, when you did your dissertation, or when you've done your most recent research paper. But these are methodologies that can be used inside of training for lots of different purposes, and it does reach across a lot of the projects that we have. I want to add, and these are just my comments, and it's to reiterate a little bit, but perhaps more coherently as I read it. Although it appears that each project team has within itself the tools to accomplish FAA objectives, project by project, it is becoming obvious that each project touches other projects in fundamental ways. Just as good training is an arrangement of job task elements with precursors to indicate when one task ends and another task begins, it will be imperative for all project teams to be fully integrated with other project teams. For example, if one project team looks at curricular gap analyses, work done in that group needs to be transparent to work done in course development or part task training implementation. And work done in course development needs to be transparent to work done in learning taxonomy development or alternative ISD models. The integration possibilities are profound. So I'm hoping that this will catch on. And I know that we produce technical reports, but I'm not quite sure if those technical reports are disseminated across all the PIs. And if they're not, they probably should be, or at least that we should have them available to us so we can see what everybody else is doing. And it's not like, this is not a cheating thing. This isn't like, well, this other project is really advancing and we're really going pretty slow, so let me steal all their ideas. That's not the point. And it has not been the point of this entire conference. This entire conference has demonstrated how much we all want to win together for our client, who is the FAA. We want them to be delighted. And I think the best way to delight them is to be fully integrated. and it can happen, and it's just obvious that it can happen by what has gone on so far. So that's it. Thanks.